Hello, 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 filter-free America listeners. Once again, we are back together in podcast form. Not together in the room. Together, we are together. My thoughts through microphones, through wires, through the magic of the internet, into your ears. We are together, and I'm glad to be here. I hope you're glad to be here too. We are. Got a very interesting episode coming up here. One that kind of fell in my lap, and unlike most of our past ones, at least up to date, this one is very current news. I don't know if if you're a follower of politics and things that go on in the world of politics. I don't follow near as close as I used to when it was more important to me as far as radio and all that stuff, but I still passively pay attention to it. I mainly have cut back because it disgusts me and drives me crazy and makes me want to hide in my basement. But aside from that, I still do follow. And recently we had a visit here in Minnesota from the President of the United States. You can choose to call him president or not call him president. I don't recognize any presidents of the United States because I consider I consider the United States government a criminal enterprise, and I don't support it, regardless of the party in power. But that's just me. But the person referred to as the President of the United States, President Donald Trump, was here in Minnesota, Rochester, Minnesota to be specific. And he was here, I guess, meeting with his people, his friends, his supporters, people who like red hats a lot and stuff like that. And a friend of mine, a fellow comedian and a guy I've known for a while, who is also, aside from a comedian, an activist, decided to go pay him a visit. Go to the rally that they were having there in Rochester. And his name is Sam Spadino. Sam Spadino. And basically, he went there to protest. He went there to, cause a little protest scene. And that's what this episode is going to be about. He's going to talk about that. Why he went there, what he was doing, what he planned to do as his protest. This particular protest didn't go as planned because he was snuffed out before it went down. He talks about that. And he talks about also some previous protest attempts that he's made, successful and some unsuccessful, and also future plans. But I thought it was going to be a very interesting story, and it was. We have a shared distaste for President Trump. We have a shared, pretty close to a shared point of view as far as, the state of government in this country. He and I maybe have different points of view on how to deal with it, or who to trust and who we should elect, or what we should do. But pretty close. I think we're on a similar wavelength, and I appreciate that in him, and I hope he does the same with me. But we basically talk about all this. Now, I don't want you to think that the title was clickbait in any kind of way. The title of this episode, I've already got it determined. And normally I determine at the end of the intro, but I felt this one kind of wrote itself, because the name of this episode is going to be "My Dad is Donald Trump." Right? Now, again, not clickbait at all. Because if you were to look up the story associated with this, because this story, what happened to Sam in Rochester, made national news when he was there at the protest, incognito, dressed as others would dress who attend a Donald Trump rally, camouflaged clothing, the whole deal. Once he was exposed, and Secret Service and law enforcement were dragging him out of the rally meeting area there, he had to do something, right? He had to do something. He didn't want to do anything that was going to be, something that was going to get him arrested, something that would be criminal. So he had to think fast, think on his toes. And, he's a funny guy. He's a comedian. The only thing he could think to do was, yell out, "Dad, Dad, Dad," to Donald Trump. Yelled it out to him. And that became the headline of a lot of the stories that went out there. Man arrested at Trump rally for yelling "Dad," which is hilarious, brilliant, and I don't know. It's just perfect for both him, for the moment, and for everything else. It worked out great. So that explains my title. I don't want you to think I was trying to clickbait you and thinking, oh my God, he's got one of Trump's kids on the show. Got to check that one out. No. Let me clear that up right away. But I just thought it would be funny to call it like that, because if you know the story, you know what I'm talking about. If you didn't know, now you know. But definitely look up the story. This happened, fairly recently. Just Google "man arrested at protest for calling Trump dad," and I'm pretty sure you'll get plenty of stories that will connect to what we're about to talk about here. What else do I need to say about this? Yeah, I mean, again, this wasn't a successful protest, but he turned it into a successful protest by that action there, because I mean, just the yelling of that, the attention that got, it worked out great for him and for drawing attention to the things that he's protesting. And obviously he's here talking to me about it, so he's got my attention. And what else we talk about? Oh yeah, sorry. He talks about his most successful protest, which was also done here in Minnesota and up in Duluth. And that one, guys, funny. It's funny because I knew about that protest. I knew that protest happened, but I didn't know that it was him, right? Like, I remember that protest happening when it happened. This was back in June in Duluth, Minnesota. And I remember everything about it, but who was the guy that did it, right? For some reason, I didn't know it was him. I think that was and this happened during the time where I was on my exile from Facebook, when I left Facebook for 9 months, and I was kind of disconnected from a lot of the people that I know, and purposely so. But he was the guy that did it, and I don't want to give away any spoilers or anything, but that protest there was brilliant, and Trump interacted with him as it happened. So when you hear that story told, you may have heard the story too, but now you're going to hear from the guy who actually did it. So that's another interesting angle of this story as well too. So you get to hear the full deal there. Anything else about Sam? Oh yeah, I was supposed to mention his social media contact things. Keep your phone away from the microphone, Joey, because it gives it static. Okay. If you want to follow Sam Spadino on Twitter, it's at Party Dino, PARTYDINO, at Party Dino. Also, he has an Instagram that's pretty cool, and where he like takes pictures with people with like cool or weird shirts on, kind of deal. It don't let my explanation make your deciding factor. Just go to at Cool Shirts Bro on Instagram. That's at Cool Shirts Bro on Instagram. Cool, COOL, shirts, SHIRT. I guess it's just shirt, bro, not shirts. I said plural. So at Cool Shirt Bro on Instagram. Cool Shirt Bro. Okay, there we go. Spit that out. I was just as mumbled and horrible as I could possibly do. But you guys have used to that now. Let's knock out the sponsor real fast before we kick into the episode here. As you know, we have one wonderful sponsor who helps make this show possible, and that is our good friends at simplewebsite.us. Simplewebsite.us. One more time so it gets in your brain. Simplewebsite.us. And you know what you do at simplewebsite.us. You go there for assistance, for help, for guidance when building a Squarespace website, right? Now, we all know that building a Squarespace website is fairly easy to do, right? But sometimes, you just don't have time to do it, right? Sometimes you'd like to just turn over the project to somebody else, dust your hands free of the stress of having to worry about it and just say, hey, guys, take care of this for me. Here's some few shekels. You do this and I'll be happy, right? Yeah, so that's where you go. You go to simplewebsite.us, and they are the people that do that. Do a great job of doing it, right? Or sometimes you just need a little bit of assistance, right? Maybe you're stuck on one particular angle of your Squarespace website build. You just have one little question. You know what? The good people at Simple Website will help you with that too, right? They'll do that. Yeah. Or guess what else? You don't even have to spend money with them, right? You can go to simplewebsite.us right now, simplewebsite.us, and you can find free resources, things like tips and video courses, right? That will help you do it on your own, right? They just throw that stuff out there. You're like, you know what? Not everybody is going to pay for this kind of stuff here. So let's just, provide some stuff that they can get, for free. That's how good they are at simplewebsite.us. So no matter what the deal is, if you're interested in any kind of way of building a Squarespace website, right? Once you get going, once you've opened up your account, immediately go to simplewebsite.us, take a look around and see what they've got for you. I guarantee you, once you get there, you're going to at least find some information that's going to be helpful for you building your Squarespace website, right? And if you're like me, somebody who uses technology, but who is a complete idiot when it comes to technology, and he needs hand holding as much as possible and as much assistance as possible, right? And somebody just to pat him on the head and say it's going to be okay, right? And simplewebsite.us is definitely where you need to go. Simplewebsite.us, simplewebsite.us. One more time, simplewebsite.us. Boom, there we go. Sponsors. Done. We got that all over with. Thank you for listening. Thank you for hanging out for that part of it. All right, let's get into the episode here. Our guest today, the very funny, the very brave, I think he's very brave gentleman for going here. He goes into the mouth of the beast of Trump supporters to protest for the cause, protest for all of us, whether you appreciate him or not. He's protesting for all of us. Mr. Sam Spadino, and of course, we already know the name of this episode. My dad is Donald Trump. With Sam Spadino. Let's go. So, what's the deal? Why are you doing these protests?
That's the same question the Secret Service agent asked me.
Well, actually, I work for the Secret Service now. This is a second interview.
All right. Well, happy to tell you.
I'm the more casual branch of the Secret Service.
For me, it's just about raising awareness, getting people to question their own reality, get outside of their bubble, because I was raised in a bubble,
right?
Homeschooled, conservative Christian, went to Bible college.
Yikes.
And wasn't until, I started seeing a couple movies that were not on the list that were approved by my folks, or Michael Moore movies. Seeing Fahrenheit 9/11 kind of started me just down a road of asking questions and trying to figure out what's really going on. So any citizen who's concerned about their country should be asking questions. My desire, especially with the Trump cult, is to get them to question their own leader, because the double standard would never apply. They would never let Obama get away with half of the stuff that Trump has gotten away with, or anyone else.
Right.
But for some reason, whatever he says is gospel. And
doesn't that work both ways?
It does, but I feel like there, at least in the progressive community, we're willing to challenge our representatives. Franken stepped down. Keith Ellison is calling for an investigation into his allegations. So you'll see a difference in the parties, at least on a certain level. And so I don't know. I think being in a room with people who disagree with you is important. Even if you don't protest, go to a Trump rally, check it out. Feel that energy. So for me, I've been to two at this point.
So what would describe the energy then? Because I've never been to a Trump rally, and I as much as I like to stir shit and all that, I can't think of a place I'd least want to be, really. And anybody who's, if you're first time listening, I don't swing one way or the other politically, but I don't want to be in a room full of Trump supporters. I really don't. But what's that energy feel like? What's the vibe?
Have you ever been to a monster truck rally?
Jesus Christ. Yeah, like that. Okay.
It's a little like that. Have you ever been to a WWE event or a Jerry Springer show? You know, it feels
it's like all that shit.
It feels like that, you know,
Holy
where they're
shit.
just happy to be on a team that is winning.
Right.
And it doesn't go that deep. Like, we're not getting into policy here. These people know when to cheer, they know when to boo, and they know what to expect because Trump hits his greatest, you know, his hits.
Right.
The fake news gets a big response, you know. Anything to do with Hillary is still, in 2018, getting a lock her up chant. So whatever you think about Hillary or the Clintons,
he's sure he's taking his time doing that shit. If he's going
exactly. If they locked me up.
They got to you pretty quick. So they take her faster. Holy shit. And again, I always gotta, you know, explain this, but both sides to me are fucked up, and I see ignorance on both sides. But there's a different kind of ignorance that you're seeing on that side, and it's like dumb. It's like just no
dumb.
thought. I mean, I see the left is getting fooled, but to fool the left, you got to be a little more clever. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. No, I was not a Hillary Clinton supporter, and but I do see similarities between the two cults. You know, because
I like that term too. That's what it feels like.
It is because, and you know, you could draw that criticism to you know, Bernie Sanders supporters too, but I think at least in that group you're going to find a little bit more diversity because there was a lot of people on the fence between Bernie and Trump, which is bizarre. You know, people talk about the horseshoe theory where the left and the far right are two ends of a horseshoe that kind of almost touch,
almost come back together at the end.
And there might be some truth to that, but one thing you'll see with Clinton supporters and with Trump supporters is that their candidate can do no wrong, and questioning the leader is an immediate ban from the group. You're obviously not one of us. You're with us or against us, and that is a troubling.
There's no room for nuance in that kind of thinking. Not at all.
That hurts democracy.
The thing, and again, you know, I can't side with any of them, but the thing I see positive with the Bernie side is I don't, you know, I'm mad at Bernie for, you know, I really liked Bernie going into it in the beginning, but I really got mad at him when he turned around and supported Hillary. That said, the people who are down for him and really support him, I understand it. Because when I see them, and speaking about them as a group, it feels like to me it's like a group of people that are desperate for good, quality, democratic ideals and things of everything that they've been hoping that all these Democratic presidents and politicians they've had before them would be, and they want so desperately for him to be that. And I really think he feels like a good guy to me. You know, I've went to go see him speak. You know, his track record seems legit.
I think he will.
The Hillary thing just threw me for a loop, and I just can't.
I think ultimately that'll prove to be a potentially strategic move, specifically if he runs again in 2020, which I kind of don't. I'm not going to be surprised at that.
Right.
I think he's going to be old, but it's going to be his last shot, you know.
Right.
And he's still got a huge support. He's still like the most respected politician, and I think people like the idea of an independent. And so, if there's ever coming a day where we can move beyond the two-party system to, you know, looking at that huge group of voters, the independent group, or just the people that don't vote are looking for ideas that are going to work for the common man, you know, and that's what people connected to with Trump. That's what they're still riding, and I'm hoping that as the truth comes out about Trump and about the entire Republican Party, those people begin to look elsewhere, you know, and it's unfortunate.
It's going to take something. It's amazing to make them pull away from him at this point after what we've seen and what we know that, you know, as real, and they're still there.
Yeah,
it's going to take something. I'm like, he's going to have to be caught in bed like ass fucking a flag, you know.
All right, so now I know we can curse on this podcast.
Oh fuck
here.
yeah,
okay,
we can.
Okay. Yeah, it's gonna take a lot. Like if you believe anything in the Steele dossier, you know, the P tape, whatever. If that comes out, maybe that's the end of the line. But we already had the grab 'em by the pussy tape.
No, man. I tend to vote for people who like to get peed on.
You know. The question is,
finally somebody that represents me in this country.
Not whether he liked to get peed on. Is, you know, was he doing the peeing? Were the people involved underage? You know, and that's the real question. And that to me is the line. And that's why I've done these protests, because all I did was ask a question.
Right.
Who is Jeffrey Epstein?
Right.
And that's a question that everybody should be asking themselves, whether you're on the right or left. And that thread, if you pull it, will lead you to kind of a dark place. But that's where we are in this country. Look at the Catholic Church. Look at Hollywood. We see this kind of open secret of pedophilia, of child abuse, of, you know, fucking kids.
Right. It's not like a small problem. It's definitely not. I mean, it's
absolutely
not only in this country. I mean, overseas and everywhere else. I want you to. I think we should definitely, you know, elaborate more on Epstein and who he is, just for people who don't know. But before we do that, let's first backtrack first to your first two, I guess, protests. One was more of an attempt, and then one was actually successful that you got some media attention for. And then that's what will bring in Epstein there. So we'll talk about that. So let's go back to your first attempt. This was summer of 2016, DNC, Philadelphia, and you were there for that. What were you doing there? What were you attempting to do? What was the deal for that one?
Well, I had been a strong supporter of Bernie Sanders throughout the campaign leading up to the 2016 Democratic National Convention, gone to several states and knocked doors and canvassed and whatnot. And, you know, it was a major movement. The political revolution did happen. Whether it was successful or not, it, you know, remains to be seen because we're still in the middle of it.
Right.
And
people, I'm glad you said that too, because people need to understand that. They think that success or failure is determined between each election, and it's not. I mean, this is a society is long ball, man. It's multiple generations. I mean, things that you do now may have a ripple effect decades and decades from now. So
exactly.
The work that you do, it's ongoing. You're constantly doing something and trying to get to a place eventually, but it doesn't work like that. It's not a 4 to 8 year cycle. It's a lifetime cycle. It's multi-generational cycles to get to where we're at. It took many decades and many generations of fuck up presidents and bad decisions and bad policies to get us where we're at now. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be fixed in 4 to 8 years. No way, no how, no matter what we do.
A candidate like Bernie who pushed the Democratic Party left, who was willing to use words like oligarchy and, you know, just expose the system for what it is.
Right.
You know, that took a lot, and those people who were affected by that are not going away. So whoever the next candidate is, whoever the next kind of progressive hero is going to have to adopt those kind of policies, because that's the new normal, you know, Medicare for all. So that all of that stuff really attracted me to the Bernie campaign, and the fact that Hillary wasn't even willing to consider any of the ideas that he had. You know, Medicare for all was too far-fetched. You know, it was like a free pony for everyone. So I went to Philadelphia to kind of protest, to stand with the Bernie delegates, to march. And because at the end of the day, we knew that if Hillary was nominated, she would lose.
Right.
We felt it then, and we were right. And it wasn't the fault of the Bernie people. It was the fault of the people who nominated the weaker candidate who couldn't stand up to Trump. And ultimately, this goes back to Jeffrey Epstein, because that was the napalm. That was the atom bomb that Trump was willing to use against the Clintons, because he said it at CPAC with Sean Hannity. He said, Bill Clinton's got a lot of problems coming up, especially when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein and the famous island. So he trotted it out. Like, if you guys want to take me down, let's go there. Like, and to me, that issue is something that goes between, elites on both sides.
Right.
The rich boys club that likes to fly around on private jets and fuck kids.
Let's jump to the June rally then. Again, before we get into details about Epstein, because I still want to get that. Because, well, I guess Philly, let's finish that. You never got to do what you wanted to do at Philly, was that right?
Well, in Philly, I had a thought, because we've all seen the photo of Bill and Hillary and Trump at the wedding, smiling, having a great time. So to me, the charade of that they were mortal enemies was a joke.
Right.
Now we know that when Stormy Daniels was hanging out with Trump, he got a call from Hillary. That's in her book. Like, so what's really going on? And I was prepared to do a protest against Hillary on the floor. I had a pass to get in there, and ultimately I bailed on that idea because, I'm a straight white male, and I understand the optics of what that would look like, and I ultimately, I didn't want to be that guy.
Right. I hate that too. I mean, especially and picking on the left here for a second, we talk so much about wanting these levels and these different degrees of equality and equalness between the sexes and what have you. And that's something that you saw a lot during this last election cycle, was if guys were to call out Hillary on something, that was a go-to attack on those guys. The Bernie Bros attack and all that stuff. It's like, no, can I just not like her because she's just garbage to me? Can I just not? I'm sorry that she doesn't have a penis and she's garbage, but she's a garbage with a vagina.
Right.
And that's, I don't give a damn. I could care less what the sex is if somebody gets elected to whatever. Mm-hmm. I just don't want a garbage human in there. We've had enough of them.
I'll concede that there probably was, a lot of propaganda that the Bernie Bros kind of embraced, but there are legitimate criticisms of Hillary Clinton. You look into her background in the Clinton Foundation, there are legitimate criticisms to be had. Right. Policy, whatever. Obviously not enough to justify lock her up at this point, but I wasn't excited about her getting elected, although by the time November came around, I was expecting it, and I was planning to be critical of her as president. So for better or for worse, I let that go. And at this point, it's a lot easier to be critical of Trump because he is just a disaster day after day.
Right. I know the feeling, because when I was on on AM 950 doing radio and stuff before with Obama in office, that's progressive radio was on, and I would hold him accountable as I would anybody on the right. And I would get very angry people at me there for, because I would straight up call him a murderer. I mean, anybody who blows up children, with drones and, beats Bush's record, of killing children and innocent civilians with drones, that's a murderer to me. And I caught a lot of shit for that, and then in some of it times they would allude to me being racist. I'm like, really? What did I say that was racist here? No, I just don't want him blowing up kids with my tax dollars. That's where it begins and ends.
Yeah, exactly. I got to give props to Michael Moore for his new movie Fahrenheit 11.9 because he does, go at Obama. And
Really?
he goes in pretty hard on the reasons why Democrats, lose all the time, or why we have a position where, candidates who lose the popular vote are now in a position to appoint Supreme Court justices. Happened with Bush. We just rolled over when that election was seemingly stolen.
Definitely stolen.
Now we're in a situation again where it's questionable what happened in the 2016 election. The entire process, with the primaries. And so we'll see what happens here coming up with the midterms. Hopefully that's an indicator that people are paying attention, are engaged, that the system can work. To me, Trump getting elected was proof that, okay, maybe this can work. Maybe people actually can have a say, because that was so out of the blue.
I'm a lot of this, when we talk about the election process and all that, because, I'm on record multiple times. I don't believe that there's legitimacy to, at least for the presidential election or the upper politician positions. It just seems like to me there's too much money, there's too much control just to leave that in the hands of simple tax slaves.
Yeah.
But, I'm going to play along, for the fact of the conversation here. But if it is a legitimate thing where every vote matters and everything counts, people need to be aware that the Trump supporters, they're engaged right now. They're active, and they're knee deep and doing what they have to do to support their guy.
And they've done a great job of making the midterms all about Trump. They made Kavanaugh all about Trump. They just kind of roll it all together and dumb it down to the point of red versus blue, and they know their team, and their team is just parroting back these talking points that they never thought of themselves. Like, they didn't know who Brett Kavanaugh was 2 weeks ago.
They probably didn't know how many Supreme Court justices. No, I'm going to stop picking. I don't want to, because I know I have conservative people listen to this show and everything else, and but it is. It's sad when anybody follows anybody blindly, and we'll just say it like that. And to me, when I see somebody do that, it makes me feel like you're less intelligent. And I'm not a smart man. I'm not. That's on record. But God damn, guys, you've got to question, where your money's going. You got to question what these people are doing when they're making decisions in your name, and that's exactly what's happening. And you can't just be satisfied with my team won and we beat your team, because that's really what this feels. Both sides, what it feels like it's boiling down to. It doesn't matter. Anything else matters as long as we win, and we'll figure it out after the fact. And then it's often too late after that. But anyway, let's jump to the June rally then. Your first successful protest that you attended.
Yeah, this is June 2018, Duluth, Minnesota.
Okay.
Friend and I went in, infiltrated the Trump rally, and I only brought 2 signs in there, like cheaply printed out, Office Depot, and it was just a picture of Trump with this guy, Jeffrey Epstein, taken at Mar-a-Lago, and tiny text that said, "Who is Jeffrey Epstein?" And got about 4 rows away from Trump.
Damn. Yeah.
Real close on the floor.
So take me to the, just the getting there part right now. This is, this is before he was elected, right?
No.
This is June. No, this is just June. Okay.
This year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So security had to be as tight as it was, I guess, in Rochester, right?
Right, which is when you're going into a rally, you don't need a ticket.
Okay.
You don't need an ID.
Really?
You just need to go through the metal detector.
Okay.
So that's about as simple as it is. You know, if you sign up for a ticket, that's basically just signing up for the mailing list. There's no presentation of anything. First come, first served. So cut in line, got through the metal detectors, spotted by a cop, you know, long hair, kind of profiled, but ultimately got through. And Fox was live streaming the rally. So we hit our mark. I put up my sign. And
you have like a plan? Like you have like a timed out? Do you have
no,
a strategy at all?
Just felt it out, you know.
Okay.
It's super stressful, you know, knowing that you're an infiltrator.
Right.
You know, you're in amongst people that don't like you. And watching the rallies from the campaign, you know that the violence is a potential.
Right.
But there's an announcement that goes out saying, don't harm protesters, just start chanting Trump, Trump, Trump until security comes. So I held up my sign. Fox News zoomed in on it. You know, Trump seemed to be thrown off by it, and you can watch the video.
Where was he at in his speech? Did he just come to the
probably
mic?
About 15, 20 minutes in.
Okay.
Talking about NAFTA, and held up my sign. He
and then what? Okay, let's do. I want to take it piece by piece because this is exciting. So you pull out the sign, right? And what the people around you? How quick did they recognize what's going on? Or did they
fairly quickly? They started, you know, chanting. I feel like they started chanting USA pretty soon, but it took a while for security to get to us. You know, we were kind of surrounded.
Right.
And I was able to keep my sign up in the air long enough to lock eyes with Trump, for him to see it, to turn the sign around, to get the camera to zoom in on it. There's some great like still photos of it. And
no one's trying to grab. No one around you's trying to grab your sign.
Not until later. Somebody knocked my hat off. Later, somebody, you know, grabbed my sign, and I actually had the backup sign ready to go, so nice. I pulled that one out. So that actually went, you know, super successful, because then Trump actually responded to me. I have long hair. He's like, was that a man or a woman?
Trying to be
tell. Needs a haircut more than I do. And, you know, that obviously blew it up more. He was pouring gas on a fire. He could
that was the worst thing he could have done.
He could have ignored it. And
did he say anything else directed to you or at you or about you?
While we were standing there, he's saying, "Go home to mom, darling. Go home to mom." And so, yeah, I mean, it's one thing to be emasculated by Trump. You know, he's always got a question, you know, if his dick's bigger than yours, or if you're a man or a woman or whatever. I actually showed the video to my nieces and nephew the other day, and nephew was like, "Oh, he's just trying to be mean." So I'm like,
talking about Trump?
Okay. Yeah. Kids
get
it.
You got it.
I was
you understand.
like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what was the follow of that when you got pulled out of that one?
They just let us out to the door, walked us right outside. You know, no problem, no back room. I didn't know what to expect. Figured, you know, maybe we would get arrested or something. But once we were out the door, we ran into the Duluth newspaper, talked to them. And initially, I didn't want my name going public. I didn't want to print it in the paper because I didn't hear his insult to me until I was outside, saw the video clip that he actually like directly responded, talked about my long hair. So then I was like, oh, hell yeah, let's do this. Told the paper my name, and from there, it spun out into Fox News writing an article about me personally, you know, basically like doxing me for all of their rabid fan base.
What was their overall take? Probably not positive, I'm assuming. Or?
You know, they tried to belittle me, saying, you know, aspiring comedian and human guinea pig, because I've done medical testing in the past, and so they wrote about that. And they also included a photo from my Twitter, because a couple weeks before that rally, I'd gone to see Stormy Daniels perform down in Madison. and got a photo with her.
What was she doing down? What kind of performance was it? Was it
just the full Monty? Like,
oh, okay. I thought she was
I know,
reading poetry or something.
It wasn't a poetry reading. It was definitely the full Stormy. So she puts on a great show. Shout out to Stormy.
Topless or full nude?
Oh, full.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Pouring candle wax on herself. She did 2 different sets. Phenomenal. Like, she came out with her America outfit on the first one. American Woman, closed with American Girl by Tom Petty. And then she did.
Does she have like a tattoo like on her upper thigh that says Trump was here with an arrow pointing to her fucking snatch?
She's got some tattoos. You know what? She's a great performer.
I assume so.
So that was just a coincidence, and so then, of course, Fox News and their minions and and then Reddit conspiracies trying to figure out if I'm a paid Soros protester or whatever, and so that went pretty effective, but no arrests, no heat.
Did Secret Service ever come talk to you after that one?
No.
Okay.
Got a few hate mail messages on Facebook and email. And a lot of fun was made of my man bun.
Right.
That was kind of the headline, man bun protester. So, that made it personal to me. Because
right.
You insulted my hair.
Oh, no. Shit's about to get real now.
Yeah, exactly. That doesn't mean that I'm, ever going to make threats or do anything ridiculous, but protesting is an American tradition, it's First Amendment right. So lest we forget all the protests that have been leveled at other presidents, especially Obama.
Right.
And so for this next rally in Rochester, things got a little heavier.
Okay. So what was you heard about this kind of last minute, right? This wasn't
Yeah,
I didn't even know it was going to happen until like a day before.
Exactly. Trump does these rallies
what
was
it for? Was it just to show up and just hype up the local red hats? Is that?
The reality is Trump knows that if he loses the midterms, the House and possibly the Senate, they're coming for him, impeachment-wise. They're going to start to subpoena people. They're going to do more investigations. The longer this Russia thing goes on, the more exposed he's going to be. So getting a judge on the court is part of tamping this down. After the midterms, is he going to do a Saturday Night Massacre style, fire Jeff Sessions, fire Rod Rosenstein, get his own people in there who won't investigate him? That's the big game. So these rallies are just in areas where he thinks he can swing it red, even though his presence, actually might have a worse effect. But I think in his mind, this election is all about him. And so getting out there, getting other candidates out there, reminding people that they need to vote and not just sit on the couch is what he's up to. So I had been planning to maybe see when he was going to Texas and go down there, and then I saw, oh boy, he's coming to Rochester again. I got to be there. So I showed up. I had a sign ready to go, but didn't get to my protest.
What was your sign for this one?
This time I had another sign. I was going to go back and double down on the Jeffrey Epstein angle.
Okay, so good.
Because if your listeners know it or not, Jeffrey Epstein is a convicted sex offender.
What's before we finish the story of this rally? Go ahead and just give me a synopsis of Jeff Epstein and why he's connected to Trump and why he's connected to the Clintons.
All right, so Jeffrey Epstein is a supposed billionaire financier, and
what did that's something I don't know. Where does his money come from? What did he?
So the original story that ever introduced him to the public was published in Vanity Fair, and it was called the Talented Mr. Epstein, kind of off of the movie Talented Mr. Ripley. So people were confused about kind of where he got his money, but he worked for Bear Stearns. He was associated with Lex Wexner, the guy who owns Victoria's Secret and The Limited. Another billionaire, and he kind of just had a way of working his way into these social circles, has a property in New York and in West Palm Beach, and he owns his own private island and also his private plane. And, he ultimately was charged with soliciting sex from a minor, 14-year-old, one count, sentenced to 18 months, served 13, but there was more than 40 complaints. Basically, the whole criminal investigation became whitewashed. Alan Dershowitz was involved.
Is it proven fact, or because what I know, I haven't read the book that we talked about before we started recording that you mentioned, but the what I know of the story, it was all through news stories, so I don't know what's legit and what's not, but is it proven that on the island there were many teenage age or below 18-year-old girls that he would just basically kind of house out there? Is that a legitimate thing? Is that a proven thing, or am I confusing it?
I don't know who's housed on the island. I know that the island is private, that there are rumors
I know
about
the plane,
it. They called it Orgy Island.
Okay.
It was kind of a
and the
well-known.
plane itself was referred to by his own employees and own staff as the Lolita Express.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
as a way that he was shuttling not only friends to come out and experience his wares, I guess, with him, but also other girls to come out there.
Yeah, they would do it on the plane too. I mean, if you're on a long flight, his big thing is massages, and a massage is code for sex with an underage girl.
Jesus.
And so the book Filthy Rich by James Patterson really goes deep into that. There's plenty of news articles out there about what actually happened, but the details of the case that ultimately led to his conviction. Now we're talking about a convicted sex offender, a registered, likely to repeat level 3 sex offender, got a slap on the wrist. So I don't care who you are. If you are okay with that, we're not going to be friends.
Right.
We're not going to be able to connect, because I care about young people. I think that adults should not be preying on children. And there's been allegations that Trump participated in this. There was a lawsuit that came up in 2016 alleging that Trump and Epstein, together raped a 13-year-old. So that's out there. We know how victims are shamed and silenced and bought off. We now know the truth about Stormy Daniels,
right.
Paid off by Trump. He initiated it. First, he didn't know anything about it, but now the truth has come out. So Epstein's legal troubles are not over. There's something else coming up, civil suits. People are still pursuing this because most of the victims didn't know he was going to get a plea deal.
Right.
And that happened through the guy who's now in Trump's cabinet, Costa. I think he's like the labor secretary.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And Alan Dershowitz was connected. So all these people that are now big Trump sycophants have interesting connections to the Jeffrey Epstein story. So whether that's something that'll get weaponized against him come 2020, I hope so. But the reason that it wasn't earlier is because of Bill Clinton's relationship to Epstein. He's on record in the flight logs flying around with him like 27 times, leaving the Secret Service behind. So that to me was a red flag. That was like a,
I just want to restate that point. It was on record that a former sitting U.S. president left his Secret Service detail behind, which is unheard of. I mean, once you leave the presidency, you forever have a Secret Service detail that follows you around because you're forever a target until the day you die. But he made multiple trips without Secret Service, left them behind, to go make these trips with Epstein.
Absolutely.
Very important point.
And Donald Trump was quick to point that connection out. He wanted to potentially use it. And in the run-up to the 2016 election, the Epstein name got floated out. Morning Joe talked about him, Donnie Deutsch. So he's kind of still this big player out there He's obviously free from prison. Yeah, he's a registered sex offender, but that doesn't stop his business and from him doing whatever he wants, And when you're...
See, that's scary too. I think if anybody else, as they should, would be destroyed financially and personally. So that leads me to believe that he probably has a long list of people or relationships or things that he could expose. I'm honestly surprised he's still alive, honestly, at this point.
That is a good point. The fact that his black book, his list of names, and that was basically it's out there though. It's public. You can go actually look in on what the names are that are in there, and you'll be shocked by the different names. He had 14 different numbers for Donald Trump, including his security, and this guy's house in Palm Beach was a few miles from Mar-a-Lago, and so there's connections there, and I believe that the truth will come out about that, just like it does with everything else, and it may take time. But
I bet there's more in that book, though. There's got to be something keeping him alive, keeping him in a situation where he can still maintain. And talk about, I mean, not only was it a slap on the wrist, but even the punishment was garbage. I mean, you told me another thing I wasn't aware of about he was only serving how much time? Like he was going home, right?
Yes, he was allowed to leave jail.
Unreal.
And go home or to work or whatever for
go back to his job of fucking children, his job back at the island.
So what they found when they went through his house, was lots of photos of underage girls, but I think they also found cameras. So part of the whole angle is that Epstein was the compromat factory. Basically, anybody that he's connected to, and look through who's in the black book, he knew everybody in power. So if you get people on camera doing illegal activities with underage kids,
the ultimate blackmail. Yeah, it's the ultimate blackmail tool.
That is blackmail, yeah. So forget about what you thought the P tape was about. This is the real P tape, and the P stands for pedophile.
Right. This kind of strangely falls into like the topic of Snowden, when Snowden talked about the collecting of metadata and all the information that they're able to mass collect and stuff. And whenever I talk about that with people, I was like, well, think about this. Part of the people who are being spied on are also politicians and decision makers and lawmakers and things like that too. So if everything that Snowden said was correct, and we all have some kind of skeleton, we all have some kind of thing, right? These politicians that are also getting spied on are also, getting things exposed. So that information is getting collected as too. So how much things are happening in our government and in our society and things like that because they're being forced to do that, because they're pawns now, being motivated by these things, these secrets that they have. Well, I've got all this right here, so you're going to have to do this.
So many. I mean, think about the safe at the National Enquirer that we learned about, that David Pecker was sitting on a literal safe full of Trump dirt.
Right.
So who knows if that's going to come out. We're at the very beginning stages of a lot of gross, ugly stuff potentially coming to the surface. So the pressure needs to continue to be applied. So that's why I went back and did I wanted to protest a second time because Trump came back to Minnesota a couple days ago.
All right. One more thing, because you're triggering a lot of stuff in my brain. The left-right paradigm, the fighting back and forth, and I've used this example for other things, but this is another way to kind of insulate and protect these people as well too, by keeping the left and right fighting each other and constantly going at each other and insults and all that stuff, and not doing what you're doing and asking the questions and the things that you're right here on the microphone right now asking people to do. You're protecting them by not doing that, right? And that's part of it. I think this is, if you want to delve on the conspiracy side of it, this is a tool, for hiding, is keeping the populace so at each other's throats that they're so busy doing that they don't stop and think, well, wait a minute, we're expending all this energy fighting each other over ridiculous.
Absolutely.
What we should be doing is sitting together at a table and analyzing these people that we have put in power, that we are voting for, that we are putting in there, and to collectively analyze that what they're doing instead of fucking trying to fight each other on fucking Facebook and everything else.
Point your outrage at the right person.
Exactly.
That's the thing. Anybody who's supporting Kavanaugh and that whole travesty, look at where he came from. Yale. Look at what the different clubs and secret societies was in.
Right.
Like, these are meant to protect rich white dudes for the most part. They have a saying, what happens at blank stays at blank. So you fill in the blank. Is it my fraternity, my secret society, my law,
kid fucking island?
Yes, whatever it is. Like, these people have dirt on each other, and it's a mutually assured destruction. So if you tell on me, I'll tell on you. We've all seen each other, looked across at each other from the coffins where we're masturbating or whatever it is,
what they call a Mexican standoff. Everybody's in a room, everybody's got a gun pointed at each other.
Devil's triangle,
Wait to see which one happens first.
So it's a joke to think that these guys are crystal clean. When we saw Brett Kavanaugh just melt down under the easiest of questioning. Imagine if people who really
felt like bad acting, like a bad emotional ploy of some kind. That's what it
was.
It didn't feel legitimate or authentic at all. Neither one of them did, actually.
At the end of the day, like, this guy, if he's willing to lie about small things, same goes for Trump. If you're willing to lie about small things, how can we trust you on big things? And why are these type of people the ones that end up in power? Because they're rich? They're not smarter than us.
I don't know.
They're not better than us.
I listen to Rogan's podcast a lot, and he has I don't know if it's his theory originally, but they talk about the amount of sociopaths in the world in different areas, be it in business or politics or whatever. But if you are a sociopathic personality, what's the ultimate job you can get? Politician. It's the ultimate power swing. It's the ultimate. So to me, it seems like maybe that's what it is. Maybe they've just learned, like, hey, this is where I need to go to be the most psycho and the most crazy and get away with it. And I would think that's the only personality type that could hold up that facade and just keep on going. And like, no, this is completely normal. Everything's fine here. We're doing everything the way we should. So maybe they're just all fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely, there's grooming that happens, whatever bubble you're in. And the kind of control grid will keep you in your lane, So if you are sent to a prep school, whatever, there's expectations. Excel, be the best, become a judge, work your way up. No matter what happens in the past, deny, and we know better. Like, if you're a real person, you made mistakes. But when you're Trump or Kavanaugh or a lot of these people, you just have to lie until the truth comes out. Yeah. And then you make up a different lie about how, And
try to put it off until your term's over. You're good. Mm-hmm. All right, let's get back to the rally, the one that just happened here in Rochester, Minnesota. You're there. You got your sign. You're doing the Epstein thing again, right?
Yeah, I was prepared to do another protest. Unfortunately, I didn't have anybody with me this time. So once again, I was able to get in. Security didn't stop me.
And that's commend you for that too. That's ballsy. I mean, going into the mouth of the beast here, almost literally.
Yeah, ballsy or just reckless, whatever you want to say. But I made it in there. Lasted about 10 minutes, 15 minutes into Trump's speech, kind of gearing up for when I'm going to reveal my sign, make a little disturbance. And I was expecting to just get ushered out. It's Sunday now. That was Thursday night. I didn't even get to my protest. I didn't reveal my sign. Somebody spotted me, ID'd me as a troublemaker, and Secret Service or security came over, started to put hands on me. That's when I reacted.
You didn't know that you were sought out or made until they grabbed you, right? It was just
exactly.
Okay.
I was just standing there listening. Hadn't yelled anything, and until they came over, I assumed that things would be fine. But once he put hands on me, I reacted. I said, "Don't touch me."
Is it
You know, 'cause
Secret Service?
it was a guy in a suit.
Okay, so probably.
But I don't consent to people touching me for no reason, especially guys in suits.
Right.
So never was explained why they came up to me, what they suspected me of. But once I started yelling, police got involved and they dragged me out. And
So
in a moment,
before you go any farther on this one now, I just want to kind of get a feel for this one again. Now this is same type of crowd, same monster truck feel. Now this time when they grabbed you, was there any different reaction from the audience? Were any of them attacking you? Did any of them grab your sign this time? Did any of them do anything violent? Did any of them yell at you or anything insulting to you? They just did regular attendees?
The first time we were sort of paraded out, and we were able to I was able to kind of taunt the audience as we were being let out. You know, it felt like the Jerry Springer type where they're booing you as you're let out. This time, because I hadn't even done anything, I can't imagine what the people around me must have thought.
Right.
Because,
and plus you were dressed in.
Yeah, I blended in. I had a blaze orange hat on and a flannel.
Okay.
I tried to look the part. So probably they were confused as to why is this random guy who's been standing by us for hours just getting dragged out, you know? So there's that suspicious mentality amongst the crowd of like the group think, you know, anybody who's not with us is against us. Anybody who gets dragged out must deserve it.
That's gotta be like the biggest, like the most tangible, like example of like the group think is going to a rally. Either one, because then it's like hyper. It's like super boosted. It's like the energy's in the room and everybody's there for the same thing. Oh, maybe I do need to go just to see what that feels like.
Yeah,
I think to be in a room full of minds
have no problem
that are all
getting in. You'd
triggered to whatever.
Exactly.
Oh,
being
God,
there, hearing the people in line talking about, you know, one guy was saying, just these are comments I would hear offhand. I had an idea for the homeless problem, but it involved genocide, so probably shouldn't talk about it. And then hearing them mock these women who have come forward who are alleging sexual assaults, you know, mocking them, talking about their just all kinds of terrible stuff, and empty liquor bottles throughout the line. There was shot bottles from like airplane size container, you know, Fireball. Like people are getting lit.
I think we're like line. A football game or something.
Yes.
Holy
it's
shit.
Like tailgating. So, you know, that's I don't subscribe to the idea that all Trump supporters are evil or anything like that. But it is that group mentality where, you know, if you're not on our team, you're on the enemy team. God. So, definitely interesting.
Why can't
energy
the team just
to
be
absorb.
the human team? Why can't it just be the team of humans? Why can't we do that?
The weirdest part is hearing like Elton John and the Village People being played over the loudspeaker at these.
That does seem like
speakers.
Poor
it's like bad wedding music that they play as their intro to Trump coming out.
It's probably the only one he's allowed to use anymore. The one that needs a royalty is bad enough.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm getting dragged out. Who knows what the crowd thought? It was all happening really fast, and then I just started yelling, and I yelled the word "dad."
And what made you? What was the? Did you? That was that pre-planned as like a fail-safe?
It wasn't pre-planned.
Okay.
It was something that is sort of an inside joke between me and my friends.
Okay.
But it's also, you know, I was thinking the story in the New York Times just came out about how Trump got all of his money from his dad. He's a daddy's boy.
Right.
So, and he also is a neglectful father. You know, I haven't even heard about Barron Trump, let alone Tiffany Trump, you know, so he's got kids out there all over the place that he's not really paying attention to. So I guess I thought it would be funny if I just yelled "dad."
Right.
Over and over, which is what I did, and that showed up in the police report. That showed up in the court.
Did he hear you at all?
I assume he did. I don't think he responded at all.
Maybe he learned his lesson now. He's like, oh, don't talk to the man bun guy ever again.
The man bun wasn't even exposed. That's the thing. I was ready to whip the cap off. And
See, that would have been hilarious.
Me?
Yeah, if he would have acknowledged it. Like, oh, it's you, darling. I remember you from Duluth.
That's what I was hoping. Now he knows that's the same guy for sure.
Right.
But the fact that I yelled "Dad" ended up in the police report, which ended up as a headline: Minneapolis man arrested at Trump rally for repeatedly yelling "Dad."
Right. And that's unplanned or not. It was a brilliant move, at least in my opinion. I because number one, it makes you feel cute and huggy and squishy. Right? You saying that, so you're going to have, a majority of the public is going to side with you. Mm-hmm. And then secondly, it's non-threatening. It's not like you're saying, hey, fuck you, whatever. Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, Dad, that's
exactly.
You're looking for your dad. What are they going to throw you in jail for? Wanting your father?
Uh-huh.
What kind of crime was that?
Maybe deep down it is a cry for help because there's, we have kids in cages right now that are yelling for their dad,
right.
And Trump is this kind of illegitimate stepdad who is having his way with our country right now as he lines his own pockets. So I know a lot of my dad is a Trump supporter. So,
really?
Yeah.
What does he think about this?
I just told him about it today. So
he didn't know?
He didn't know.
You haven't been watching Fox News or what?
No, I don't think this one hit Fox News.
Really?
So
come on, Fox, you're dropping the ball.
I know. You'd think that they would connect the dots, but maybe they don't want to keep giving me the spotlight. For whatever reason, it did make headlines, but definitely a lot fewer at this point. It could still blow up.
Right.
I'm hoping for like a plaid shirt guy moment because
right.
that guy got kicked out of a Trump rally for just making facial expressions.
Jesus. Oh, the guy that was standing behind him. Yeah.
Yes, plaid shirt guy.
That was weird, man. That was weird.
Exactly. Literally, if you aren't clapping loud enough, if you're not chanting USA loud enough, you might get kicked out of a Trump rally. There's no telling. So I think they really like to know that the brainwashing is working.
Right.
And
he's gonna need another dose. But when you told your dad, though, I'm interested about that. What was his reaction? And or I guess first, what's the relationship like prior, as far as him knowing your political affiliation and all that? Has this been an issue before? Has he been understanding, or?
I think he respects me. We have a good relationship, and like most Trump supporters, he doesn't want to be challenged. Okay. He doesn't want to go there. Wants to agree to disagree.
Okay.
And I think most Trump supporters, when push comes to shove, when you lay out the evidence, they're going to want to dismiss it either as fake news or whatever. But you can't dismiss all of this. Trump's associates are going to jail. Juries are convicting them of tax evasion or whatever. So when all of it is said and done, then maybe we can have a conversation. Right now, it's a challenge. But I think he was even shocked, But at this point, nobody's shocked by anything because all of this crazy Trump stuff has desensitized us. He can say whatever he wants. And if you question him, then lock her up is almost like the standard, So me going to jail overnight, me getting questioned by the Secret Service for yelling "Dad," getting these 4 misdemeanor charges, which ended up happening at the end of the night, disorderly conduct and whatnot. Most Trump supporters will think, yeah, you deserve that.
How dare you question our king,
the leader? Yeah.
So you got drugged out by what we assume is Secret Service. They get you outside?
Before they got me outside, the police got involved. So I'm sure there's body cam footage of me getting...
Are you going to ask to release the body cam footage?
I mean, if it comes to that, yeah. I mean, at this point, they dragged me out into the hallway. They pushed me up against the door. They twisted my arms really hard.
Were you resisting in any kind of way? Struggling at all? Or trying to
only when my arms were being twisted, like trying to get them back to a normal, not painful position. So
this is
when you do
Rochester
that,
City Police?
yes.
Okay.
So when you do that, they start saying stop resisting, even though I'm saying I'm not resisting. You're hurting me. Then they start kicking my leg.
Funny how that works. Like they cause you pain that your body naturally recoils from. You're not even doing it on purpose. Your body just naturally pulls back from pain. Weird how that works.
Yeah.
And then that's considered resisting. And then they just use that as a way to inflict more pain.
Yeah, exactly. So then they ended up, charging me disorderly conduct, fighting and brawling, obstruction of police.
Who did they say you fought or brawl?
I guess the police.
Ideas? He was really kicking those ideas right in the teeth.
Didn't even get to that point,
Right.
And then they decided to charge me with trespassing as well. Return to harass.
Trespassing someplace you had a ticket for?
Exactly. Like
Jesus
a
Christ.
public event. There was no harassment. I don't see how yelling dad could be even remotely considered harassment. The fact that I'd been kicked out of a different Trump rally and was planning on protesting this one, it's like a pre-crime.
Right.
So those charges were filed. I pled not guilty and was let go the next day. But the fact that I even had to stay overnight was kind of surprising, I think,
I'm surprised it was only a night.
Well,
I'm surprised they didn't at least give you like the 48-hour hold.
Luckily, it was Thursday, because it was Friday. I probably would have been in there over the weekend.
Definitely.
And it felt like indefinite detention because they weren't telling me much. The next morning, I found out why they kept me overnight. It was because Secret Service could go through my social media and go through whatever they could find and then show it up to try to talk to me the next morning. And that was intimidating. Like, I had seen the agent the night before, and it was the same guy. Came back, pulled me out of my cell at 5 a.m., sat me down. I'm wearing my prison outfit. And he tried to ask me some questions. And I said, I don't answer questions. You can talk to my lawyer, which is the right answer for anybody who's detained. Just say,
anytime.
I don't answer questions.
The way you talk to any kind of law enforcement officer is with your mouth closed. That's the only way you do it. Never talk to him. So, was there any specific questions other than your name? Did he ever get to any detailed questions that you may not have answered, but just...
Yeah, he did.
What did he ask?
He's like, I know what you did. I just not want to know why you did it. And first of all, I was
have you been watching the news lately?
Yeah, first of all, I was like, what did I do? Second of all, figure it out. I wrote an open letter after the first protest to Donald Trump, published in the city pages, talking about why I did my protest. Goes into great detail. So obviously they had seen that.
Right.
I'm a public figure. I'm a comedian. My Twitter is out there, and there were some public Facebook posts, and one of them said, "Now it's personal," and so he tried to twist that,
of course,
as if that was some sort of threat, and he tried to intimidate me and say, that threatening the president is like a federal crime, 5 years in jail. He also asked me why I said dad. He's like, I noticed that you called Bernie Sanders daddy. What's up with that? I don't talk like that. So why? What? He's just trying to connect the dots.
This younger guy, older guy?
This is an older guy. Like,
what a fucking weirdo.
Seemed like a nice guy. He's probably confused. Like, and honestly, like the whole.
Do you remember his name?
I don't.
Whatever your name is,
it'll
Secret Service
come up,
officer. I'm
yeah.
sure you're going to be listening to this episode. I'm
Absolutely.
positive. You're more than welcome to come on the show, and we'll talk.
That would be great. Yeah.
I'll get your side of the story.
Next time you go through my social media, though, be sure to like the posts and share
Yeah, no
them.
shit. Share that shit on fucking, Spooks, whatever website you go to.
And the best part was at the end of our little chat, he's like, okay, well, we're not going to press any federal charges against you. Tried to take my picture, and I just held up my hand. And then as I was walking away, he says, all right, Mr. Worldwide, we'll see you later. Which was a reference to one of my Facebook profile pictures. I had a picture like with a ad that had Pitbull in it.
Right. Oh, okay. Now I
And
get
so
it.
he's like, yeah,
Gotcha.
Mr. Worldwide. Okay.
God,
I'm glad you're
what a shit
I'm
job
glad
as a
you're
Secret
going.
Service agent. You got to go through your fucking Facebook timeline and all that shit.
It's nice to know, though. I mean, if anybody is planning on putting themselves out there, what you might expect. You know, if you've never been to jail before, that's maybe an important experience for every American to have, because there's an entire
I've never
population.
been for anything cool like you. It's always been for fucking drug possession or something.
Well, it's not a fun place, obviously.
I wish I could go to jail with a smile on my face for fucking interrupting a Trump protest. I feel like I'm doing something good for a change.
It was still scary nonetheless, because once you get to jail, you feel like a piece of shit.
Here we go. Were there other prisoners there at the time?
I had a cellmate, and I did tell him the story, and
What was he?
up. I don't know what he was in for, but you know, the holding I was put in was kind of the 3-day, you know, the less serious stuff. So he cracked up at it. He thought it was pretty funny. He said fuck Donald Trump too, you know. So,
Nice.
Nice guy. Shout out to everybody who's locked up who's not listening to this, but
I have a feeling we're really big behind bars. What else? So you got court appearances still coming. That's in January.
yeah, I got to fight these charges. I got a lawyer who, you know, pretty reassuring that you can't get disorderly for protesting because of the First Amendment.
And not only you weren't protesting yet.
Exactly.
You know, so
the other ones, obstruction and trespassing, shouldn't be an issue. But you know, knowing I'm on the list, that the Secret Service is monitoring my stuff, that's good information. Yeah,
makes you think twice when you go porn searching, right? You gotta better keep it a little more tame.
Yeah, I mean, I think anybody who is using the internet should be obviously mindful of what they're posting, what their past is up there, because we're seeing how that comes out and come back to haunt you. And it usually affects people who don't have the money to buy their way out of things, obviously. Right. But anybody who is... the
day I go down, all those fucking 9/11 posts are going to bite me in the ass. Mm-hmm. That's really going to happen.
I mean, you know, activists need to be aware of what their profile is. And because, you know, the more public you are, actually, I do believe the better. If you are a public figure, just put it out there. Obviously, don't be posting anything that could be construed as a threat.
No shit.
Even the slightest, because
they're waiting.
Yeah, they would love that. You know, we've had the Patriot Act in place.
Even if you get found not guilty, it's going to be after months of court. And if it is something of a threat, especially in taking of a politician or a president, then they can just lock you up at that point until the court process happens, give you a high-ass bond. You'll never get out anyway.
Yeah. That's why protests like the ones I've tried to do is either, you know, make it ridiculous to the point where...
It's just hilarious.
Exposing it to the news is going to, you know, just wake more people up. Posing a question like, who is Jeffrey Epstein? Because right or left, they both have a dog in that fight. Mm-hmm. You know, oh, that's the Clinton guy. You know, oh, that's, you know, they're both going to come at it.
Right.
And, you know, there's other ways to kind of pierce that armor, you know, to troll the president, who is the ultimate troll. Like, the ultimate meme.
You're fighting fire with fire is what you're doing.
And we need to see more of that. And it is kind of disturbing that he does rally after rally without major pushback from people on the inside. You know, he is the president. Anyone can go to see him. People should be going and voicing their opinion, whatever it is. Hold up a different sign, you know, be that voice in the crowd that stands out. And hopefully you won't get arrested. Hopefully you can afford a lawyer if you do.
Right.
But go in a group, you know. I mean, going by myself was definitely a big risk.
Oh shit.
And you know, luckily I'm a white dude, so that probably
the only thing that saves you at that point.
It does have its privileges.
Yeah.
And so for men, especially white men, to be putting themselves on the line, shows you what women have to go through, shows you what minorities have to deal with, you know. And we think we live in a free country until those freedoms are tested. So I encourage people to use your freedom while you have it. Use that voice, protests.
Use your freedom to protect your freedom, because
Exactly.
that's really what we're on the edge of right now. Did you see that? Just random thought in my head. Another protest, I believe, it was in Seattle area, protesting police violence, and another car plowed through a group of protesters over there.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, it just happened, I think, yesterday or the day before yesterday.
Okay.
So,
yeah, it's definitely, there are dangers associated with speaking out. But if you can do it in such a way that makes people think or makes people laugh, I find it to be more effective. You know, this headline that got spun out, I actually had no idea that that was going to happen. You know, I was just caught up in the moment. But the fact that it turned into this giant dad joke, and especially people who know me are really loving it, like, because that's
it's hilarious on multiple levels. It really is. It's so perfect, and it's so good for you as far as, again, it's harmless.
Yeah,
it's so harmless,
and it gets the right wingers scratching their heads, like, what is this all about?
What
What's
do we
the
do?
joke I'm not getting? Is that one of Trump's illegitimate children?
Maybe it is. So I should promote this podcast.
Yeah,
Trump's redheaded stepson. Getting close on time here. What's real fast? Tell me what's your any future protest plans? I don't want to give away anything exact, but also I know you're working on a documentary project possibly that's going to kind of detail everything that you've done. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Maybe get some interest going on that, people?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, one of the things I've found most effective, or at least most used throughout social media, is memes, internet memes, because they do pack information with comedy, and you know, they are a weapon of information,
right?
You know, and they spread, and that can be for good or for bad. But I want to do a film that kind of talks about how does social media affect us in politics. You know, look at what Cambridge Analytica did. Look at the way that Facebook data was harvested, all the way down to that, you know, metadata, where they can just slip the right targeted propaganda or videos or whatever, tailor-made for you, push you a little bit. You know, a lot of us are open to different ideas, even you know, being open to conspiracy theories or whatever. They figure you out. They profile you, and whether you know it or not, you are a potential target for these big data companies. You know, and we're all like freely giving away our thoughts and our dreams and whatever.
Well,
through social
not only
media.
that is when I explained it, kind of that same concept to people, is that you got to understand it, especially now with the cell phones and everything. If you're on social media of any kind, what you actually are is you're connected. It's a constant information stream being piped directly to you, and it's just not into your head yet. It's just into a device. It's in
and
your
it goes
hand.
both ways, because who's to say that they're not using our data to build AI? You know, all of the information that we're giving out there can be kind of repurposed, and you know, we're kind of building our own matrix at this point. You know.
Yeah. Well, that's what's his name? Tesla CEO
Elon Musk.
On Rogan, he basically said that exact same thing. I mean, that's, you know, the creation of the AI. Thank you. Spit it out. We are designing it. We are everything that they're learning about humanity. It's right there.
Yeah.
You go to your Facebook feed, and this is, for better or for worse, this is the state of humanity, and you can search humanity from, you know, by specific interests or sports or whatever, and you get a different, smaller subgroup within that by just searching out those different areas of it. And it's when you think of it that way and you start really considering it, is terrifying. It is. Yeah. My 9 months off of Facebook was so relaxing.
I bet.
Life was awesome. I only got back on for the podcast, so give it up for me for doing it for you people.
Yeah, it's definitely a double-edged sword. It's a great organizing tool. It's a way to get counter narratives out there to get the truth going, but definitely something to be very mindful of, you know, what you're sharing, what you're putting out there, and what you're even exposing yourself to, because we're all susceptible to propaganda. We all have our own confirmation bias. We all hear what we want to hear, see what we want to see. So if you're identifying with one particular group, right or left, red or blue, maybe just take a break and watch some other news for a second. Watch, turn off Fox and let yourself watch MSNBC or whatever. If you're only watching that, watch Fox News. See what the other side is saying, and sharpen your own mind to be able to see through the bullshit.
All right. Because, if anything, just to appreciate the stark difference between the two, and then ask yourself, why is it so different? Why is these messages so different? And maybe that will make you think a little bit more, and maybe look independently on your own without having these outlets feeding it to you and packaged in the way that they've been approved to package.
The worst part of these kind of political cults is only getting your messaging from the leader,
right.
And that's what Trump has become, is just the mouth of God. People
God, you're right, man. God.
Accept him as the ultimate authority. If anything goes against him, it's fake news, and that's just not reality. If you step back from Trump and look at him for what he is, fake tan, reality show host, fake billionaire, false teeth. Just,
I knew it got bad, and in Trump's defense, it didn't start with him. I think it kind of started with Obama, but I really started getting worried about people's connections to politicians when they started wearing politician fashion. And it's just gone crazy with Trump, but it started with Obama. But the shirts, those ones that got like these cartoonish drawings of Trump in these heroic poses, riding on the backs of eagles and bears with machine guns and stuff, and it's disturbing.
Yeah. That's the meme influence. That's what I want to explore more, because we did that with Bernie too. We elevated him to a position of just hero, and so that is. The fun of memes, and I guess also the danger too, because if your only goal is to own the other side, just to really stuff it in their faces, that's not helping anybody. Like, we should care and have compassion for our fellow man, no matter, and woman, whoever they may be, whatever belief system they might have. And so I'm hoping that whatever my next moves are is to bring people together. That was the mission of Bernie, and I think he accomplished that. Whether he runs for president again will remain to be seen, whether I support him or somebody else.
Right.
Everybody should kind of reserve judgment, actually listen to what's going on, expose yourself to more ideas, and just chill the fuck out. Like, this is, gotten to a place where it's a lot scarier than it needs to be. And that fear, that incitement of violence, of imagined crime, if we don't build the wall, whatever the right is afraid of, even though they're winning, even though they're in power, they're still afraid that could be lost,
Right.
And just step back. Like, if you're a Christian, if you're just a regular conservative, look at what Trump is. Tell me, what about him is Christian? What about him reflects any of the traditional American values of working people? The guy's never worked a day in his life, especially not now.
No. That's good, man. I think that's a good place to end it, man. That's a good message.
Yeah, just think, ask questions.
Good. Thank you for coming in, man.
Thank you.
All right, there it is. Another wonderful, delicious, tasteful, pretty, well done, excellent hosted, what other great things can I say? Good smelling episode of the Filter Free America podcast is now completed. There you go. Thank you guys for coming and checking it out once again. That was Sam Spadino. That was his episode, My Dad is Donald Trump. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned something about Sam. I hope you guys learned something about Jeffrey Epstein. I hope you learned something about him. I hope you dig more information out on that, and that you, like I and like Sam, discover that both sides of the two-party political system are scary monsters who are probably molesting children right now. Am I exaggerating? Maybe, or maybe not. Who knows? Wow. Again, thank you to the sponsor that we have, simplewebsite.us, simplewebsite.us, simplewebsite.us. The place you need to go if you're building a Squarespace website is simplewebsite.us. They will help you with that. One thing I forgot to mention in the beginning in the intro, I had promised you a specific episode coming up where this one is at, but this one here took precedence just because of the freshness of the story, right? And I promised you a very kind of dark episode coming up about a girl and her sister who were adopted. And sadly, they were molested by their adopted father after being adopted from a foreign country. And she tells that story. That episode is coming up next. Okay, I will make that the next new episode that comes up. Now, that being said, I think I'm also going to release a classic Filter-Free America episode pretty soon too. I think it's going to be the interview with Sage Francis. I think I'm going to let that one go first. So that one may come out next too. But no, that other episode is in the can, is ready to go. I'm going to release it too. I just got to space these things out correctly. But yeah, that's another crazy episode that you guys are going to be. It's going to be cringy to listen to, but definitely worth your time. Anything else? Is that it? Oh, yeah. Please, I'm really going to have to push hard on this right now. Please, whatever device you're using right now to listen to this podcast, please right now, take time to subscribe if you haven't already. Also, rate and review the podcast. Rate and review, subscribe, rate and review and subscribe, all that stuff. If it's Stitcher, if it's iTunes, especially if it's iTunes, because iTunes is such a lion's share of the podcasting world right now. It's very, very important for podcasters like us here at Filter-Free America. Where else am I at? At TuneIn, I'm on there. Spotify, Google Play. What else? Oh, YouTube. If you want to use YouTube, there's no real videos. It's just audio that just gets shot over there. So it's just like a single screen, but you can still listen to it. So if you choose to use YouTube, boom, there you go. But please take time to do that. Give me a subscribe, sub me, and then rate and review. Max it out, 5 stars, and on the review, you don't have to spend a lot of time, writing, long paragraph of how wonderful this show is. I mean, if to be honest, let's keep it real. If you wanted to really, write in words how great the show was, it would take volumes and volumes of books worth of words. So, you don't have time for that. But just, say something good. Hey, great podcast. You should check it out. Really enjoy the show. Great job. Anything like that. Something positive, that it just definitely helps. And that's the way it works here. So of all the promoting I could do and everything else, subscriptions and ratings and reviews is really the most helpful thing as far as how I understand how the whole system works, especially on iTunes. But no matter what your whatever outlet you use is going to be helpful for me. Okay, so please take time to do that. I really appreciate it. Or if you're one of those super awesome podcast fans, subscribe on multiple outlets and rate and review on every single one of them. I don't care. It's just going to help me even more. So yeah, I think that's everything. Is that everything? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to let you guys go. Go enjoy another great podcast. Go listen to some Rogan. Go listen to Gabe Noah's Profession Confession. That's another good one. I don't know. Go enjoy some podcasts. Go listen to good stuff. How about that? I don't know. I got to get out of here. I got to stop talking. I got to go to the gym. I'm going to the gym. I'm going to go lift. Bye.